by Anderson. He's not able to adjust. You see off the stick there, and a good screen in front. Brown gets out of the way. Anderson swings at it but can't get a piece of it as Anderson was down looking to his right. Puck gets deflected up.
Crypto Hockey, here we are. So, good evening. I'm going to make two videos today because I feel like it. I'm feeling excited in this bear market. I feel like I need something to distract me, something to stop me from staring at the market, something to put my energy into, and this is it. So, yeah, good evening. It's Australia here, so maybe good morning wherever you are. Maybe it's the middle of the night, I'm not sure. So, what I wanted to say, just quickly, is what is a precise shot worth? Now, I think a precise shot is worth a lot. A precise shot in this world is very difficult to find. And as you saw in this video, it came off someone's stick, but something that is honed with skill and observation and timing is very difficult to achieve. And I think that in my life, I am far from perfect, but I really do try to find aspects where I can identify that precise shot. Now, whether that's me in my own life or whether that's other people's experience, I think when you sift through the bullshit and you come up with someone who has made a precise shot and you think, fuck, that is on the money, that stuff's worth remembering. And here's something from Denzel that I wanted to share from before, last video, which I couldn't find. Here it is. This is a precise shot, and this is relevant to all the FUD and all the hype and all the bullshit. Just have a look at this.
What do you make of all the fake news that it affects
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed.
So what do you do?
That's the great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true anymore. So what a responsibility you all have to tell the truth, not just to be first, but to tell the truth. We live in a society now where it's just first. Who cares? Get it out there. We don't care who it hurts. We don't care who we destroy. We don't care if it's true. Just say it. Sell it. Anything you practice, you'll get good at, including BS.
You told me last time.
Okay. But you heard me? Does that make
What a badass
What do you
fucking
make
dude,
of all
Denzel.
the
What
fake
a
news?
badass dude. What a badass dude. So the market cap, we've been through this. I did a video earlier. 260 billion, 260 billion. Down from 800 billion in December, January, 260 billion and climbing, I might add. Like sideways market, but slowly, you know? Slowly, we're going to get there. Today, I'm going to talk about, well, one of my passions. My real passion is in a lot of places, but one of my serious passions is maybe challenging the way that people think. And today, I really want, without starting arguments, although no one watches my videos yet, whatever, I want to talk about China. I've been to China. I lived in China for a little while, and I think there's a lot of bullshit about China. People don't really know what China's all about. And I don't really know what China's about. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a Chinese expert. I'm not Chinese. I don't know a lot. Like there's a lot of libraries of stuff that I wouldn't know about China. But I'm just going to share my experience. And so this is what I think that people think China's about in a way. Look at this. Yeah. Big, scary, communist fucking guys where everyone is oppressed and everybody just does what they're told. And, yeah, that's it. The government says jump, people jump. There's my phone. So is that China? Is that China? Or is this China? That looks like Japan. This isn't Japan. That looks a bit like Japan. That looks a bit like Japan, that mountain, that Fuji. Or is this China? You know? Maybe this is China. Yeah, well, I think that China's many things. I think it's probably all of the things that I just highlighted. But I think that what I've got to say is important. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to annoy a lot of you. Here it is. In the West, we think China takes a contrary position to ourselves. And in many respects, that's true. Leaving politics aside, leaving culture aside a little bit, I want to make an observation. I've met a lot of Americans and I've met a lot of Chinese, and I find that there are very similar traits between these two people who are sworn enemies in the world right now. What have I found similar? I'm not saying that the US and China are the same. I'm not saying that, okay? I'm saying I've found similarities. Now, China, the word in Chinese for China is Zhongguo, which means Middle Kingdom. And when you meet Chinese people, well, the people that I've met, they generally, to me, don't know a lot about the rest of the world. And I've met many Americans that are a bit similar to that. They don't know a lot about the rest of the world. They know a lot about America, but they don't know a lot about anywhere else. The Chinese that I've met have been very similar. So what I'm trying to draw together is that here I've met people from opposing political systems and cultures who both feel as though they are the main deal, the big deal, you know. Now, patriotism in Australia is something that is very different from the United States. But I've found that the Americans are very patriotic, incredibly patriotic, and to the point where you wouldn't be able to say certain things because you would be challenging the very idea of the United States of America. And that cuts deep, you know. And I've found the Chinese to be similar. You can't say certain things to them because it also cuts deep. The patriotism to the country is strong in both places. Now, this is perhaps why we have such contrary, opposing sides here, because we've got two really powerful cultures that are very, very strong in their own right. So those are the similarities, I suppose. And to take it a little step further, Americans talk a lot about freedom, but you go on the American media and start talking about communism and you will be shouted down. So maybe you have freedom of speech, and this is the same in Australia, to say what you like, but you're not going to get a platform. Maybe you're not going to be killed, but you'll be discredited and you'll be ridiculed. I'm not saying I'm for communism. I'm just saying, as an example, America's not the free utopia that's behind the idea. It's got problems. It's a working product. Okay. Now in China, obviously, we know the problems. You can't do a lot of things. So, I just really think that in this new Cold War of technology that perhaps is coming, we need to take a bit of perspective and instead of just saying the USA is the best, the West is the best, or the East is the best, I really think it's good to be subjective. And I think unless you're subjective, you can't see the good in both sides. Now, I'm really bullish on Chinese crypto, really bullish on the projects. I'm bullish on NEO, I'm bullish on Ontology. I'm constantly got my finger on the pulse for new releases in terms of NEO, in terms of what's going on. Other ICOs that might be releasing on the NEO platform. I think that there's going to be a really, really, really big support behind NEO. And this is why. Okay. Now, I'm going to get into politics for a little bit, and this is going to offend people. But I'm going to talk about Australia, all right? So that we keep it a little bit separate from the United States, because people get a bit enraged when you start saying that China is better, which is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying China's better, but I'm saying it's different. and it has benefits in its differences and downsides in its differences, okay? So I think that a really big thing between the United States and China that would, for me, be an essential point of difference, differentiate between the two people, the two places, the two peoples. Let's talk about the two peoples, because that's what really drives these places. So it's the concept of individualism. Individualism in the West is basically our backbone. We pride ourselves on individualism. That's where we pride ourselves on freedom to do what you want, to wear what I want, to be interested in what I want, and me. Now, I'm not saying that in a negative light. I'm just saying that that's our approach. Individualism is essentially our culture. And I say our culture, and I mean Western culture. Now, what I've noticed about the Chinese, and if you read a bit about Chinese history, which I have, is individualism isn't really considered such a great thing. And the community and the working society as a whole is considered more important. Now, if you're Chinese and you disagree with me, please, I want to know. But this is what I've noticed, okay? It's my opinion. Now, as one person, individualism isn't so important. The collective is important. And in the West, we judge China and we'd say, well, you guys are all oppressed because you've got some totalitarian communist party that just rules you guys and they make a decision and you're all fucked and you don't have freedom and you can't do what you want. Well, I think that culturally, the system that China has developed over thousands of years, even including the way that it is right now with the Communist Party, culturally and politically, that has worked for them. Now, Russia is a bit similar. The United States could not operate in the same way that China works because it's not culturally similar. It's very different culturally in the ideals. So that's my opinion. The political system matches the culture. And you can't have this one slap branded thing like a Western democracy and slap it on China. It isn't going to work. They don't respect it. So what I want to say about liberal democracies, or not even liberal, capitalist democracies, okay, is there's no arguing that we have a bit of a problem in our setup with capitalism and with democracy. And here's what I believe the problem is stagnation. Now, I'm going to use Australia as an example, okay? I'm not going to use the United States because I don't have that much political knowledge, you know. In Australia, we have a democratic system. Every 3 years, change of government. Now, if they come up with an idea like let's make the most amazing internet, for example, which has happened, please Google this if you don't know, they cost it. They put it to the public. Everyone says, oh shit, that's really expensive. The opposing party is a party of opposition, not necessarily a differentiation, like a different party these days. So the opposing party says, oh, it's too expensive. What do we need that for? They fight. Eventually they put the system in, the new internet thing comes. Oh, boom. Change of government. Now the opposing party's in government. What do? Fuck up the plan. Oh, okay, we've got to justify spending all this money and now we're going to change it. And what do we get in Australia? Years and years and years later, we get a stagnating system which is soon to be replaced by like Wi-Fi, which is going to be faster soon. We're spending heaps of money. It's not finished. It's not good enough. There's a big problem in these democracies that we have. It's a big problem, stagnation. In Australia, they want to build a road. They have to argue about it for 4 years. Cost it. They do all this shifty stuff. They're going to have all these private corporations making heaps of money. Oh, boom. Change of government. We're not doing that anymore. We're going to do this other thing. Now, that is definitely a weakness that we have. The Chinese don't strike me as having that problem. They want to build the craziest railway across the Tibetan plateau on top of a glacier. And everybody says they can't do it. They go to the Swiss. The Swiss say, shit, you can't do that. That's bloody crazy. No one's done that before. They say, oh, we're going to do it. They do it. They want to build a road in China. They don't argue. They go and do it. Now, they get things done. And in the 21st century, we're starting to see who is getting things done and who is stagnating. Now, I'm not saying that China's perfect. I'm not saying that they're a perfect system. I'm saying that in some respects they have an advantage because they are unified in their decisions. Whether you agree with their decisions or not, they are. Now, why does that matter for crypto? Why does that matter for NEO? Well, if the Chinese decide to open the crypto market, open the exchanges back up and give their public blessing to this market, they will want a level of control. Maybe that's bad for centralization. Sure. If you're into decentralization, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying that it will result in support for certain platforms. And NEO is, in my opinion, the one that is going to be in the limelight, in that place. And everybody knows how big the Chinese market is. So that's an advantage. That's a huge advantage. Now, I really, really, really want to know if anybody has insight into this. I really want to know. Tron, okay, is proposing a decentralized content creation platform as part of their ideas. Everyone says, oh, they're going to go crazy because they've got the support of the Chinese. Now, why would the Chinese support that when they ban Facebook, they ban Google, you can't find certain things if you search for them in China. Like try searching Lhasa, Tibet, uprising or whatever in China, you get a 404 not found. Now, how is that compatible with Tron? I want that question answered. And I actually tweeted Justin Sun that. He hasn't replied. Of course not. But I actually think that's a really interesting point. So that's my opinion on the US and China. That's why I'm bullish on blockchain and Chinese blockchain projects. They've been going crazy. They've been registering the most blockchain projects out of anybody. They seem to be sitting back, writing it out, timing their move. They're scary, you know, like they do things in a different way to the Americans do. The Americans tend to come in and wave the flags. I'm sorry, Americans, I love you, but you come in, you wave the flag, you show everybody a better way of doing it, and then they follow you. You make a lot of noise. The Chinese are quiet. They sit back, they watch, they buy up some stuff, come up with some different plans, buy up some more stuff. They're clever. They have a different way of ruling and owning the world than the Americans do. A different way. And it needs to be understood. And I just want to put that out there. So let me leave you with that. What is that crazy music? It's cool. Yeah, crypto hockey, fast and dangerous. Catch you next time.